Customs and Border Protection officers seized over $1 million in cocaine. South Texans honor the fallen on Memorial Day, and Texas primary elections end today. But a recent study shows there's a link between voting and life longevity. This is South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday, May 26th. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, or CBP, officers in the Rio Grande Valley have seized over $1.2 million worth of cocaine this month. CBP officials announced that about 93 pounds of the alleged drugs were intercepted during secondary inspections at Hidalgo and Far International Bridges. The first happened on May 10th at Hidalgo International Bridge. Officers discovered 25 packages with a combined weight of 57 pounds hidden inside a sedan. On May 12th, officers at the Far International Bridge found 14 packages with a combined weight of about 35 pounds concealed in a sedan. CBP has seized the narcotics in vehicles. Homeland Security investigations have arrested the drivers and initiated criminal investigations. Monday was Memorial Day, and thousands of South Texans honored the fallen across the region. In Corpus Christi, the Mayor's Committee on Veteran Affairs, in collaboration with Nueces County Veterans and Social Service Office, hosted a Memorial Day ceremony at Coastal Bend State Veterans Cemetery. The ceremony included a parade of colors, representatives from Disabled American Veterans and Auxiliary 150, Veterans Band of Corpus Christi, and other veterans organizations. In the Rio Grande Valley, KRGV reports that a special ceremony was held in Mission at the Rio Grande Valley State Veterans Cemetery. 25 News Now reports the Victoria County Veterans Council hosted a wreath ceremony at De Leon Plaza in honor of military-related organizations. Warriors Weekend Field of Honor also hosted their Memorial Day Remembrance Ceremony in honor of about 450 veterans who lost their lives. A former retail store in Harlingen will soon be a $42.3 million academic facility for the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley's Departments of Physical and Occupational Therapy. The University of Texas System Board of Regents approved the design development plans last week. The 55,000 square foot multidisciplinary learning hub will feature specialized teaching and research environments for advanced healthcare education. The facility will include advanced research and anatomy labs, research spaces for pediatric and adult activities of daily living, and an assistive technology lab equipped with driving simulation. The project is expected to be completed in spring 2027. Texas concludes its primary election today after a week of early voting. The most anticipated result will be from the Republican runoff for U.S. Senate between incumbent Senator John Cornyn and the state's Attorney General Ken Paxton. The Texas Newsroom's Blaise Gainey reports the two have slightly shifted their message after President Trump's endorsement of Paxton last week.
The four-term Senator John Cornyn said at a campaign stop on Friday that this race now feels like it has the most at stake out of any race he's been in. And that's absolutely true for him. He's mostly run comfortable races, but that endorsement from Trump has raised this to a level he hasn't faced. And for Paxton, he sort of moved forward as if he's already won. He's focusing most of his time on the general election opponent, Democrat James Tallarico. And polls before the endorsement showed Paxton with anywhere from a 3 to 12-point lead. Now, with the president's backing, that lead is expected to be larger. I'm Blaise Gainey in Austin.
Typically for the Texas primary runoff, it's a low turnout election, despite the serious stakes in the outcome. But here's a sweetener for those who are voting. You may live longer. A new study suggests that there is a link between voting and reduced mortality risk. Texas Public Radio's David Martin Davies reports.
Pamela Davison has just finished early voting in the Texas primary runoff, and on the way back to her car, she has a bit of a spring in her step.
If I love to vote, I always vote.
The 74-year-old was a little taken back when I told her about a recent study that found that voting increases your chances of living longer.
Doesn't seem too logical, but I'd like to think it's true.
76-year-old Molly McGarrett Davis is also voting early, and she does see how voting could have a personal benefit.
Well, I think voting means that I care, and I care about how my communities run, how my cities run, and it matters for the quality of my life and other people's lives, and I'm interested in my community.
And that connection to community and society could be the secret sauce that links voting and longer living, according to Femida Handy from the University of Pennsylvania School of Social Policy and Practice. She co-authored a paper published in the Journal of Gerontology Series B titled Voting Behavior and Mortality Risk in Older Adults. Handy says she was actually surprised by the finding.
Because the results were so striking, we had to rerun the data.
The researchers looked at the data in the Wisconsin longitudinal study, one of the longest-running social science studies in the United States, which began in 1957 with a random sampling of more than 10,000 Wisconsin high school graduates. It's been following them ever since. After filtering out factors that could affect mortality, like income and volunteering, Handy concluded that older adult voters, compared to non-voters, had a 45% lower mortality risk 5 years after voting. Also, individuals in poorer health seem to benefit more from voting.
And we've also noticed that it didn't matter what their political affiliation was.
So vote Republican or Democrat, same benefit. And it's not the actual physical act of going to go vote that does the trick.
Even those who had voted remotely have a decreased mortality risk.
Voting by mail still showed reduced mortality risk. But Handy is quick to point out that there is no cause and effect with voting and living longer. In other words, voting itself doesn't boost your lifespan. There is no magic in sporting that I voted sticker. But earning that I voted sticker is a different story.
When I go out and vote and I put the I voted sticker, I feel good about myself. That when you think you've done something good, it makes you feel good. And when we feel good, we know we've got lots of neurochemistry.
Unlocking the neural reward centers reduces our stress hormones and delivers multiple health benefits. Neurologist and science communicator Ben Ryan says the connection between voting and living longer makes sense to him.
I think it's really interesting.
He's the author of Why Brains Need Friends, The Neuroscience of Social Connection. He was not part of the voting and mortality study.
Voting isn't a medication that, extends your life, right? It feels like people who vote are also something else, and that something else is positively related to longevity.
Ryan says there is a massive amount of research that shows a relationship between being involved in one's community and health.
You're just doing this because you believe in it, because you think you're part of a community, you have a sense of purpose, and you want to vote, you want to make a difference.
Handy says she would like to follow up with a larger study and do more research. In the meantime, she says people should go vote. I'm David Martin Davies in San Antonio.
Local runoffs will also be part of Tuesday's election. In Cameron County, for example, Democratic voters can cast ballots in the runoff for a county judge nominee. Incumbent Eddie Trevino Jr. has served as Cameron County judge for over 9 years. He previously served as the Brownsville mayor. Challenger Esteban Steve Guerra previously served as chairman of the Port of Brownsville for 4 years. He was elected to the board in 2018. The winner will go head-to-head with Republican nominee Mauro Garza in November. And in sports, tonight, the San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder continue their clash in the NBA Western Conference Finals. The series is tied at 2 wins apiece. Game 5 is tonight in Oklahoma City. The winner of the Western Conference Finals will go on to face the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. And speaking of San Antonio, the Corpus Christi Hooks will be there tonight to face the Missions in the first of a 6-game road series. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.